start recording full information. So, okay, first one is pre-acquisition, where we create a program and its budget by studying various geographies, various villages. So there are about 40 programs running right now, which are in the execution phase. And then there are about 20-25 getting built as we speak. So we want to encode all this information into the Salesforce platform. So after pre-acquisition, we do acquisition where we get the funding partners, and there may be one or more funding companies for the same program. Some may fund initial 3 months, or some out of 3 villages that are covered, some will say, I'll cover only this village. Some other company will say, okay, we have people coming from other village, so we will fund that other village, no problem. Some say we don't have that much budget, we'll fund only first 3 months. All these permutation combinations are possible because we split a program into sub-programs and locations and budget. So that hierarchy you should understand. A program is composed of all these sub-programs. So it is just the aggregation of all these sub-programs. So whatever data we feed into sub-programs gets accumulated into program. That's what we mean by aggregation. And now each sub-program we saw is basically related to which locations, which taluka, which villages, and what thematic areas are covered. So each sub-program can be sliced. So it's a slicing of a project depending on specific verticals, specific skills, specific geographical location. So you have all the flexibility to create your own sub-programs for that specific program. So that's what we saw, right? So let me go back to... So these are the two main things, and third main one is the acquisition, right? So where acquisition, I said, execution. Execution, I said, that is where the implementation happens. Okay, once the funding agencies are finalized, and we don't have to get the entire funding. Suppose this 2024 program 1, entire budgeting came to about 1 crore. If somebody said, hey, we have 3 lakhs of budget, can you accommodate us? So we create an appropriate sub-program and say, okay, you just do only funding of this part. We'll start working on that. And Vanarai doesn't really stop working. They start, some funding has come, they start working because they are so confident that somebody will fund even for later part. That much rapport they have already built in the market. And, the new diktat from the new government is that all the companies, 3% of profit must go to the CSR activity, right? And that has actually helped Vanarai like companies quite a lot, because it's now the other way. Companies are looking for some good companies who can consume this CSR funding, do some good work. So companies are actually looking out for companies to expand their CSR funding, which is a mandate. If they default on that, there are penalties and there are some red marks, etc. So it has really benefited companies like Vanarai. So it's becoming more easy to get funding companies. Not that it is piece of cake, you have to still struggle. And that's why we created that acquisition phase. And we'll look at that. And the third one is execution, and fourth is hand-holding, where they take a feedback, keep in touch with the villagers for whom they did execute that project. And even the funding companies are also looking for feedback that did we create that goodwill that we wanted to build due to this program execution. So all that happens in the last phase, which is hand-holding. So it's basically continued communication, interaction with the localites, so that it's not like a project kar diya, khatam kiya, chale gaye, kaam khatam. So they want to be in touch with villagers and vice versa, because villagers might be anxious to get one more project done from Vanarai. So once they see something happening, they also spread the news to other friends in other villages. So a lot of things can happen by networking. So they want to keep doing that. Those are the 4 stages. So we'll look at the CSR part, which is the acquisition process. So it basically starts with a lead. The lead progression, the CSR. If you're not familiar with standard Salesforce CSR process, look at any trailhead you should find easily. Just Google on Salesforce or SFDC CSR process or something. CSR again stands for customer support. CSR stands for, sorry, not CSR. What is that called? The CRM. Sorry, CRM is what I meant, not CSR. So customer CRM, right? Customer something.
Relationship management.
Relationship management. Thank you. So this is basically the CSR part that, sorry, CRM part that we are going to. So basically we start with the lead, okay? So here, what happens is the CSR, Vanarai organizes a lot of events. They invite industry players. Like last time there were people coming from Bajaj or Tata or Bosch, like companies, to attend their event, which demonstrates what they are doing. They organize some get-togethers. The last time I think some of us were there. They had organized that millet-related some event where all the millet makers or growing seeds and all that, they had invited them together, and a lot of some politicians, industry, all people visited them. So they keep doing such programs. The purpose of such programs, or even they publish some articles in newspaper, they try to spread those articles through LinkedIn and other social media. The purpose is basically get the eyeballs of industry people and get in their minds that we do these things, and for your CSR funding, we are here. So that's kind of a marketing they keep doing. So out of that marketing, they generate these leads. Okay, so a few people who are visiting, they say, hey, we are interested and we would like to talk further. So immediately you will go and start creating a new lead. Okay, so let's say we, or some of us who has a friend in some company, he said, hey, our company is looking for CSR funding. Then you say, why don't you look at Vanarai? And then the Vanarai CSR person. So this role, ideally right now, I'm doing everything through admin, but ideally a CSR role person from Vanarai will create this new lead. Practically, if anybody else comes to know some potential lead, he will inform one of the CSR team members in Vanarai, and he will go ahead and do that. So this is the first step. So we create a lead. Blah, 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 put some whatever. Okay. Let's call what is MX? MX, Professor, Doctor, Mrs., Miss, Mr. Let's go for Miss. Okay. What name you want to put? Putting something. So you can put what company he or she represents. Let's say we'll put only mandatory fields for now. So this is the minimal information. You need lead status, which is default prospecting. So you'll see the importance of all these stages. As we progress the lead, this is what we basically essentially model, how that lead progresses. Why are people joining again and again? They're dropping because of network, maybe. So these are the stages we model, and this is the starting phase, which will be defaulted to. And we'll see what are the meanings of all these stages. And then anything else required? No. Okay, so I created a lead. Now why I created a lead? Because I now got somebody from the industry who might be interested in funding Vanarai. That's the whole purpose. Okay, so now you can see, now I'm going to get this lead progress through all these different stages before eventually it gets converted typically as a success or a failure. Most of them are failures based on their statistics. Maybe out of 300 odd leads they pursue, maybe 5 to 10 actually convert success. So that's the usual case for any marketing or sales activity. So what we are expected to do now? So now that we have created a lead, we have some hope that this lead might be interested in funding with us. So the next thing we do is we start what we call as a segregation phase, where we start collecting some information from this lead person, that what is your company interested in, what kind of budget they have. So if you see this small arrow here, so this basically is the key fields for specific stage. So for every stage, this arrow will represent something else. So if I'm in segregation and click this arrow, so you'll see that there are a bunch of maximum 5 fields only can be part of this. So these are the hot fields pertaining to this stage. So immediately we start progressing him in the segregation phase and start getting the inputs as to what kind of thematic areas your client is or this person is interested in. So I'm going to put some thematic areas: health and sanitation, education. So I can put multiple. And why I'm selecting, you can wisely note that I'm trying to make sure that the program that we just created is kind of filtered out of based on this selection. So based on these thematic areas, we'll not show all and each and every program that is available with Vanarai, but we'll shortlist them based on his intention. So this is how the system helps the CSR representative of Vanarai. So this way it is going to increase the probability of successful conversion. If we talk about Nashik area, and if they are not interested in Nashik but only in Aurangabad, why talk about Nashik projects? So all that help is done by our system. So then investment capacity, let's say, even that I'm going to put into our, which fits into program. And all these conditions we are ORing. So even if our program may be 30 crores, but the thematic areas match, we still will show that program, even if it is not fitting in their budget of 5 lakhs. That's because we know always we can create some small sub-program matching these verticals if they are there in that program. So we still pick up even any of these condition is complete. So it's all or, not and. So we will also say which district. So we selected Aurangabad. So we'll make sure our program is selected for this purpose. Taluka and else I'm going to skip. So I have populated these attributes now. And maybe I can add some more information if I have gathered some more information. Something like, what is this priority? Very odd. So this is, we are categorizing the lead depending on your gut feel that this lead is jumping or very much eager to find someone to fund, or he is like, okay, let me take a look at what you have, we'll see. So depending on that, whether it's hot, very hot, warm, cold, TNT, try next time means almost negative. So you're kind of categorizing. This kind of categorization we'll use for analytics later on. I'm going to say it's not very hot, but warm. Then lead status. Now we can change this to segregation. We did that manually, but we haven't really made this stage as current stage. So if you see the button here, mark this stage as current. So I can either go to this stage and click this button, or I can even pick this from this pick list and save it. That will also mark it as in that stage. So now if you go up, so now this has changed to mark this status as complete. So if I click this, it will jump to the next stage now. Okay. So I added the necessary information for this stage. So I now moved him into the next stage, nurturing but not responding. So this is what they said happens, that they give you some answers, blah, 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 and then they go into some kind of a slumber, meaning silent phase. They don't communicate. So we still, now what happens is we have created some kind of a program for these CSR people. So if the lead is going into this nurturing, not responding phase, this is not responding. So there are a bunch of activities that CSR activities, CSR representatives are supposed to do, like keep emailing, keep sharing their newspaper events, blah, blah, blah. So that there is a template that we have created. So what happens is the CSR head then basically assigns these templates or assigns these CSR representative team members to follow those tasks that are defined in that activity in this phase. So that is what happens in this phase. So we should be able to see it here somewhere. Program these, yeah, the engagement plan. So what happens is then the lead can create a new engagement plan in this stage, so that that CSR representative who is handling this lead will execute that plan. So you select the plan template that you want. So there is only one right now, test template. You can specify start date. Let's say start from next Monday and execute this for whole of January and finish it maybe. So for, you can make it continue for 3 months or something till next some Monday. So he will follow whatever is defined in this template, like emailing, sharing some tasks, creating meetings, etc., etc. So you will get that list here. So it depends on how you have configured this template. So this is what happens in this nurturing and not responding phase. And at some point, then that lead becomes maybe active again. So now he starts responding again. So now once he starts responding, I'll mark this stage as now I'll mark this stage as current status. I'll do it this way now. So now this changes to mark this as complete. So now we are in this stage. We'll do whatever is required at this stage and then push it forward. Nurturing, what is this? Oh no, so we wanted to mark this. Segregation is complete. Now we finished the nurturing, not responding. So he started responding, so I'm going to mark this as complete. So now he started responding. So now you can see that the key fields are different. Now we start getting his LinkedIn Connect, if at all it's available. So I don't know why it is. We might do that even in the earlier stages. We can get his link connect. But LinkedIn Connect is some seriousness that LinkedIn, you know, is a very professional network. You connect to someone only if there is some serious thing happening, not just like Facebook and Instagram. So maybe now it is a good time to get the LinkedIn Connect for seriousness. And then some remark you want to put. Okay. New year, first quarter ended with big revenues. New company is now not really good one. Something like that, blah, blah, blah. So all this happens. See, you can see that activity section here. So you can start creating meetings or send emails. All that can happen here. You can even upload files. You'll see the importance of this later. But we basically start creating some kind of a draft MOU, and that MOU is something which goes all the way till the execution. MOU is Memorandum of Understanding. So you can keep filling all this other information, anything relevant. So the change, this stage is already changed to responding because we did it from the upper side. Now we can maybe, if you want, this has become kind of a hot now. If you want, you can change this hot. Save this. Before that, so maybe even in this stage is probably appropriate, or you can do it next stage also. We can do it now. So this is where now we start talking about programs that we created earlier. And so you can see that program list, which is a related object to this. So we start creating now a program, and there is a button or menu called associate a program. So before we create any, we are not actually creating any new. This new should be removed. We just associate a program. And this is an important step. So now we are talking really serious. So we are now starting to show what all programs are available for them to look at and fund. So there are unsaved changes if you leave this tab. So I want to save the changes and then go ahead. So this is the step that we all should know if we have to tangibly understand Vanarai project, what it is. So now you can see, now that I have selected associate a program, so I can associate multiple programs at this stage because they may be interested to look at bunch of programs which meet the criteria based on the information we have provided before in the segregation stage and any other later attributes that we populated. So now it gives you on the top section what were the filter criteria used. It was basically the funding, which was the segregation attribute 1 to 5 lakhs, and these are the thematic areas we selected that the company was interested in. So based on that, the program found that these are the two programs that the company may be interested in funding. So you can see both of them are in the Aurangabad. So I think there was an earlier program which was in the Aurangabad region, which had a budget of 0. And this is the one we created, second one, which has a budget of 3 lakhs. So these two programs fulfill this criteria. So we pulled only these two, not bunch of. So if you look at the programs list view, you might see there are about 10, 12 programs. But out of these, only these are shown. And of course, even if some other programs fulfill these criteria, but they are completely funded, even then they will not be picked up, because if they are already funded completely, fully, if the status is fully funded, they will not be picked for this list. But if it is partially funded, they will be picked because they are still looking for some funding. So all that intelligence is built in the system using some trigger, etc. Okay. So any questions on this selection, how we select appropriate programs for the client so that the probability of they funding it will be more. So for example, if we show Nashik programs here, it will be a waste of time, right? They will not even look at it. So we just pick only the right things. And then out of this, a lot of discussions happen, blah, 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 meetings take place. They may visit Vanarai, CSR may visit them. A lot of things are happening, and eventually they say, okay, we want to go for this one. And then only we say associate. So now we are at a very substantial, serious stage where you have even identified what program you're going to basically fund. And they may not even fund all of that 3 lakhs. They might say, we'll start with 1 lakh. Then you will probably go and edit this program, create one more sub-program, reduce the 3 lakh into 2, like 2 lakh and 1 lakh, and then say you will fund only this part, blah, blah, blah. So all that can happen slowly and surely. But now we are at a substantial stage where program is associated. Now we can mark this as a complete. This can happen in MOU nurturing also. Okay, there is some bug, encountered some errors. What error was that? Please fill in the address. So it wants the address to be filled, some address. Is that some mandatory address somewhere? Let's try this. Okay, so that was the missing thing. Okay, so now we are into MOE nurturing. Are there any key fields here? I think remark will always be there. Okay, now here is something more serious happening. Once we have identified the program, we already have that program document, and I can probably show it some document out of this Google Drive. This there is something called as MOU. So MOU document sample I can show. Not even this one. Let's see. This. But yeah, but there is some very heavy document which lists the details of what this program covers, what are the activities, and even the budget. So all that information is there.
सर कीर्तीला ऍड
Yes.
करा.
कीर्ती आली अरे वा.
7 मिनिटं
Yes.
राहिलेत सर.
Oh, we'll create another meeting. I have time. We'll create a third one. There is some sample MOU. Should be there somewhere. Maybe in Sagar. Maybe even do we see any MOU here?
You can search over there, search in Drive.
Somebody needs to organize all these hanging documents. Yeah. There is a folder, rank request. So just take a look at a sample MOU. There is MOU here. Invoice. Maybe this is MOU. Yeah, this is sample MOU. So it lists a lot of details, I think. See here, total revenue for the past 3 years. This is about the organization. Source of funding. So this is all about Vanarai. This they are done with Crompton, I think. So expected outcome of the project. It has a lot of details. The most important ones are the task, activities, sub-activities. So these are the things that will actually be taking place in execution when they implement this project. So the funding agency wants all these kind of details because they also have to show or tell to the government that this is what we did. So they have some compliance norms which requires all these details. They just can't say, oh, we gave 1 lakh rupees to Vanarai. They can't just, so they have to prove what was done with that 1 lakh rupees, what part was done, what activities were done. So all that compliance requirements are there. But basically, out of these activities and sub-activities, we pick up this part of this document, which is MOU, which is signed and everything. So this has happened after what we are doing right now. So they upload these documents which are not having signs or stamps. They also upload the legal version of this, which is on the stamp paper of 500. So a bunch of such documents get uploaded now once we are at this stage. Okay, so you'll see that these checkboxes represent all these uploads. So is the final draft of agreement uploaded? Is the approved final? So this is happening over time. It's not like you're sitting in front of computer and doing tick, 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 tick. Then, so there are 3 stages of this draft that they go through, approved until they reach approved final draft. So account team approves, legal team approves. So there are all these stages that are happening. And then eventually the signed document is the last document they approve. And so where are they uploading all this? Now that Kirti is here, she can tell where is the magic. So there is one file upload box here, but we have much fancier file upload now, where once you upload the file, it automatically checks those checkboxes. Maybe it is not here on this one. So maybe
Yeah, we have not configured that
we should.
for this lead.
We
Yeah,
need to-
because we are working.
So right now we are just relying on the default Salesforce file upload functionality. So I can upload a file from here. Okay, let me see. SFDC user to whatever it is. Let me pick something. So I can upload it here, and let's say this is